makeup.
Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Danna.
And my name is Danna Devi.
And this is Bhagavad-gita 258.
Already.
Yeah, Bhagavad-gita as it is.
Okay.
By His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It's the Song of God. Chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Traditional name?
Sankhya Yoga.
Yeah, text number 58. How many verses are there in the second chapter?
I thought it was 72.
Yes, it is. Very good.
I'm intelligent.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, if you're watching this live,
okay.
If you're watching this live on the internets, on Facebook, feel free to tag a friend or 10 to spread the good news of the Bhagavad Gita. Also, drop a like, subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube, and comment. You can comment during the show. You can comment afterwards. You know, we keep an eye on all the comments and try to respond to everything. So we appreciate it. We appreciate the encouragement. It helps to keep us, well, we're going to be motivated and do it anyway, but it's always nice. I remember my Guru Maharaj said to me, if you want to be a preacher, don't expect to be appreciated. And then maybe 3 years later, I was in South America and he said, why don't you guys go to Australia? Because I think, you know, among other things, that they'll appreciate what you're doing more.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but Gurudev, I thought you said that if I wanted to be a preacher, don't expect to be appreciated.
Contradicting Guru.
No, because then he said this to me. He said, yes, but it is nice sometimes.
I bet the ego cannot live without appreciation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty tough. You have to be pretty advanced to do without any appreciation at all. But let us see what the Gita has to say about that. Okay. Yadā saṁharate cāyaṁ kūrmo ṅgānīva sarvaśaḥ indriyāni-indriyārthebhyas tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā. Why don't we do this? I'll say it one line and then you repeat. That way you can learn to chant it as well.
I can chant.
Okay. Well, you chant then and I will follow. You want to do that?
Yeah. Bigger though.
Más grande. Así como esta.
Okay, sí, it's better.
Sí.
The M is the M?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yadā saṁharate cāyaṁ.
Yadā saṁharate cāyaṁ.
Kūrmo ṅgānīva sarvaśaḥ.
It's like this. Kūrmo ṅgānīva sarvaśaḥ. It goes kūrmon.
Kūrmo ṅgānīva sarvaśaḥ.
Yeah.
Oh. Indriyāṇīndriyārthebhyas.
Indriyāṇīndriyārthebhyas. This is indriyāni, indriyā-arthebhyaḥ.
Okay. Tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā. Prajñā. Okay. Tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā.
Tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā.
Actually, in Spanish, you really like that. Prajñā.
Yeah, exactly.
You see?
Yeah, it's
Tasya.
That's why I was surprised.
Tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā.
Yep. Tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, word for word.
Okay. All right.
You go, I'll do the English. You do the Sanskrit.
Yadā.
No, that's yadā.
Yadā.
Sí,
What is with this? El asunto es como un acento.
Sí, macron se llama.
Macron.
Macron.
Como un macarrón. Okay. Yadā.
When.
Saṁharate.
Saṁharate. Winds up.
So the H is actually like a J. Ha.
Sí.
Yeah. Oh, quite similar to the español.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because the H can be silent or can be like
it's aspirated.
Yeah.
But that's funny because that letter in Spanish is what we call a J, which in English has a sound like a J. And there is no J sound in Spanish.
But is it like a ha in español? La ha. Jota?
Yeah.
It's ha.
Jota, J in
Yeah,
English.
saṁharate, you see? It's like, that's what it is. Saṁharate,
Winds up.
cha,
Also,
ayam,
all these,
kūrmaḥ,
tortoise,
aṅgāni,
ṅgānī,
ṅgāni, ṅgāni,
Macron, yeah.
macaron.
Emmanuel Macron.
No, that one. Macaron. Mwah.
In English, macaroon.
Yeah. Iba,
No, we didn't do this one.
aṅgāni,
Limbs,
iba,
like,
sarvaśaḥ,
all together.
indriyāni,
Senses,
indriya-arthebhyaḥ,
from the sense objects.
tasya,
His,
prajñā,
consciousness,
pratiṣṭhitā.
fixed up.
Fix that consciousness. Okay.
Yeah. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Feel free to leave comments, questions, shout outs. Translation. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Truly situated knowledge. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hit it.
Okay, can I do one paragraph and you do the next?
Nah, it's only one paragraph.
No. Okay.
Or you just tag me in when you want.
Okay, have fun.
Okay.
The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control his senses, according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses.
I have something interesting to say in relation to that.
Not yet.
Mhm.
That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. Ooh, that's the current day, isn't it? People just like, free! The yogi or the devotees must be very strong to control the serpents-like snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do nots and some of them are do's.
Unless one is able to follow the do's and do nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise, the tortoise, the tortoise, the turtle, tortoise, the tortoise, the tortoise can at any moment wind up his senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. Similarly, the senses of the Kṛṣṇa conscious persons are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise, who keeps the senses within. Om ṅgānīva tasya gnānanjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai sri gurave namaha. Haribol Rupa. Rupa says, Haribol, an amazing podcast. Thank you. Truly epic. Oh, just saw an ancient fresco of Kṛṣṇa. There you go.
Nice.
Thanks for tuning in and thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for sharing about the ancient fresco of Kṛṣṇa. Where do you see that? Where are you? I'm guessing in India, but whereabouts in India? About this purport. Let's have a look at the verse again.
The test.
One who's able to withdraw his senses from sense objects like kūrmo withdraws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge.
What's a kūrmo?
Kūrmo. Here.
Kūrmo.
It means a tortoise.
Okay.
Kūrmadas, the chef. And then there's another one called Kūrmadas, not the chef. That's literally how he signs off, Kūrmadas, not the chef. The test of a yogi devotee. He has to, because otherwise everyone thinks it's the famous Kūrma, the chef.
Please give me a recipe.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, imagine that. Multiple generations of devotees, and then you get the same name as someone famous. I feel sorry for the other guy who's called Sitapati.
Oh no.
There's another devotee called Sitapati. I think he's in London or somewhere. He's an Indian body devotee.
Oh really?
Yeah. The real test of a yogi or self-realized soul devotee is that he's able to control the senses according to his plan.
Control your senses, don't
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so I have an interesting thing to say about that.
Yep, go ahead.
And that is that when I did the bodybuilding competitions, what about this view here? Cuts me off.
Sad.
Very sad. I wonder if I can move that at all. Digression. Let me see if I can just move this so that it's not over my face.
Maybe put it just a whole thing. Yeah, maybe smaller. No, it still is.
Like this?
Yeah, but your face is a bit more of a... Come on here.
Yeah, okay, I can move
Okay.
like this. Okay, because then we can still have the verse up there, so it's kind of looks kind of Kṛṣṇa conscious. So bodybuilding competitions, right? So people are like, oh, you know, actually looks better like this. Oh, I'll lean around it like this. Say, let's go cancel.
Did I just yawn?
You did.
No.
Okay, so I did the bodybuilding competitions, right? And people are like, oh, you think you're the body, you know? It's like increasing bodily consciousness. And a lot of people thought that. They're like, oh, you know, it's all about the body, it's all about bodily consciousness. It's very easy to think that, like if you're looking at it. Like if you're looking at like Instagram, or even if you go to the competition and you're looking at it. I see you rubbing your eye there because that's what you're thinking, huh?
It's like, oh.
Bodily consciousness?
Yeah. What do I do with this guy?
Yeah.
Triangles, like, oh.
I'll tell you something about it.
Not
And this is the reason why most people don't look like that. You know why? The amount of sense control that you have to manifest to do it is incredible. Like, talk about controlling your senses according to the plan. You have an exact plan of exactly what to eat and not to eat, and you have to follow it to the T.
Yeah, I've been cooking for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was like, you know, when I won that competition for the 3 years of training to get there, it was like everything was measured, like weighed to the gram. And then you have to train, and you have to train in such a way that you have to have the realization you're not the body. Because if you think you are the body is telling you to stop. All the way through that, because to get your body to look like that, but you know what those people look like? They look like people who are fighting against wild animals and other tribes and have like difficulty getting food. That's what they look like. You know, what people look like today is they look like people who are not fighting against anyone. You know, like if you look at people, they look like people who are not fighting against anyone and who can get as much food as they can, as their tongue desires. And then their bodies look the way they do. Whereas these chiseled kind of athletic, you know, looking bodybuilding type people, they look like not, and I don't mean like these steroided up massive people, but even that requires so much discipline as well. But yeah, it's very difficult to do. It's impossible to do without sense control and controlling your senses according to a plan. And also, if you think that you are the body, it makes it very, 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 very difficult. And that's why most people can't do it. Yeah. So when I read this here, where it says, able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. So yeah, that's why when people are like, oh, it's all bodily consciousness, I'm like, no, you think you are the body, and that's why you look the way you do. Because all you do is just eat, you know, whatever the body tells you to eat. You have to control your senses according to a plan to be able to do that. I'm not saying that that's the only way to do that, but yeah, there you go anyway.
Not eating is controlling the senses too.
I got one more day to go until it's near Jalakodasi. It's Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, your turn. What do you got?
Controlling the senses are quite hard. It comes from this, you know, your eyes looking at things. Your mind is just like, ooh. your mouth, tasting things,
Chocolates,
ice cream.
ice cream.
And then what else? Texture, smell. Sparkling is amazing. How much is it? 260. Okay, I will get it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
How about like $5, $2 for a box of incense? Offer it to Kṛṣṇa.
Maybe. I'm talking about perfume.
That's an easy one for me. I'm like, I don't smell anything except the flowers. I was thinking of Ambarish Maharaj. They only smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa and the incense offered to the deity. But it's like, I'm not that big on smelling things because females have a more sensitive sense of smell.
Yeah, we like good at smelling
I know.
things.
Female perfume is mostly for women. Did you know that? It's not really for men.
No. Female perfume is for a male. It's the opposite.
Yeah. Not really.
It is.
It's not.
No.
Guys.
We're not going to talk about perfumes now. Anyways.
Sure.
And in what we can see these days is people wants to have like this unlimited access to anything without restriction, yet they suffer hugely on their
Health, mental health,
physical health, mental health, and then they wonder, and then they want more things. They want more access, more craziness, no restriction in anything, and then they suffer more, and then they cannot understand why they are suffering, and then limiting themselves and being kind of austere is not even a word or thought in their minds. Yeah, so it's crazy. With that also comes with this sense of what do you call this one? Entitlement. And what else? Yeah, that's what I mostly observe, What?
The bagging, because there's contemporary example, contemporary application, I told the kids to do that. It's part of the class.
What was that? Contemporary application. Yeah.
But yeah, but another kind of fundamental aspect of giving these Bhagavad-gita classes and everything is there's two types of Kṛṣṇa kata, glorifying Kṛṣṇa and denigrating Maya or distinguishing illusion, right? And so it's kind of like most people today, they're like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, that kind of preaching. But then people, now, first of all, you got to go through that phase. This piece of hair sticking out here like this. What's it here? At least I've got here.
It's the price.
Yeah. Hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, banging on the karmis, the demons, and then some devotees are like, oh, that's like, a neophyte, kind of thing. Everybody goes through it when they first join and that. But the thing is that you do have to go through that. You do. And, I say that you actually have to never leave that behind. You may not focus on that, but that has to be in the background.
What?
Well, I was thinking about, some devotee was like, oh, Sitapati is the biggest spreader of, conspirituality and misinformation about the thing that shall not be named on the stream because we don't want to get like a strike on the channel. But I was like, how someone can be out here in 2023 and saying like devotees who like preached, hey, non-devotees have no good qualities. They're hovering on the mental platform and they're sure to be attracted by the glare of the material energy. And the 4 defects of the conditioned souls, the cheating propensity, the tendency to be illusioned, all those kind of things. How they can say, oh, those guys are like conspiracy theorists. It's like being a conspiracy theorist is like the basic level. It's a conspiracy of the material energy to bewilder the living entities. And so you do have to be like, like most people, you got to start with, we should train the kids to do that actually, to become like incredibly cynical and to be like most people today are, like that. So they can have that in the background.
Maybe.
Train the new bhaktas to be incredibly cynical. Jai Bhagavad-gita, says Rupa M. Cameron, I took Jagannath and Giriraj to the largest Vishnu temple in the world. I was chanting my mantras and some Indian devotees showed up and we did kirtan together, even though it's not permitted. Forbidden harinam is the best harinam. Largest fresco of kūrma and the churning of the milk ocean in the world. Kṛṣṇa holding up Govardhana is my favorite. There's a great diorama of that, three-dimensional one in the Suvarna something airport, Changi, Singapore. No, Thailand. Bangkok. No, it's in Bangkok. Yeah.
Okay.
Haribol Whanau and Kia ora.
Hare Krishna, Rawiri.
Haribol, brother.
You coming out of nowhere or somewhere. Surprise. Okay.
So yeah, you were saying most people today, you okay? You need to shift around a bit. How's this? Okay. Yeah, you were saying that most people today can't control their senses according to their plan, right? Because the verse says in the purport, in Srila Prabhupada's purport, he says, the test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul that is able to control the senses according to his plan. Well, let's have a look at the changes, hey? Let's just see how much sense control there is.
We don't have much time.
Yeah, we'll get through this real quick. There's a lot of changes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so in the original, it says one who's able to withdraw his senses from sense objects. It's the same as the tortoise draws. It's gone from his limbs to its limbs. Is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Now, okay. Let's see what Prabhupada said. One who is able to withdraw his senses from the sense objects, as the tortoise, like the tortoise who withdraws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as fixed in his consciousness. Truly situated in knowledge to fixed in perfect consciousness. So the change of tortoise, his to its, from a masculine to a gender neutral, is a stylistic change that's been made. They're treating it like a textbook, you know? I remember how angry I became at the university when I wrote something like that and a tutor gave it back to me, and instead of addressing the content of what I had said, made a note on there about how the university frowns on sexist language. I was just like, I wrote my entire next essay against that point. I was livid. No, why they would do such a thing like that? No, Prabhupada would be angry with that. Firmly fixed is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. So that's been changed to fixed in perfect consciousness, understood as fixed in his consciousness. So that's closer to the to the manuscript, but you weren't told to do that. Okay, withdrawn. Otherwise, Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead of for his own satisfaction. There's a sentence there that's been inserted. It says original manuscript. So it comes from here. Arjuna is being taught herewith to use his senses for the service of the Lord and not to use his senses for his own satisfaction. I mean, no. If you were going to do such a thing, you'd footnote it and say inserted in the second edition or something, but not even. Just, it didn't make it in. It doesn't need to go in, just to keep the changes to a minimum. However, this one here is justified based on the manuscript. The fixed in perfect consciousness justified on the manuscript, except that it didn't say fixed in perfect consciousness. It said fixed in consciousness, fixed up in his consciousness. That his consciousness is fixed up. Yeah, this actually is closer to be fixed up in his is to be understood fixed up in his consciousness. Yeah, as is implied, doesn't need to be explicitly, is to be understood fixed up in his consciousness. Means truly situated in knowledge. Yeah. Is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. No, that's not even what the That's an interpretation.
Yeah.
That's not even literally what it says. Nah, it's bogus. My conclusion here is this is a bogus change. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. That's bogus. The insertion of this thing here from the manuscript.
Why are they inserting things? Oh my gosh,
it's from the manuscript, but you weren't told to do that. That's the thing. There was no mandate to do this to Srila Prabhupada's book. Yeah, anyway. Oh, control your senses, man. You know,
well,
like
definitely this guy didn't control his senses.
yeah, well, yeah. This is
and he's just is truly fixed in consciousness or in whatever in knowledge. Like,
here we go. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction.
Exactly, that's exactly what that happened. You know.
Yeah, the yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmer. There is, as an editor, when someone gives me their work, man, even your own work, you edit it. It's a classic thing. You spend the whole day to add a comma, and then the first half of the day and the second half of the day you take it back out and you end up where you started. That's the nature of editing. But you get someone else's work and you just want to edit it, and you should just resist. Right.
Yeah, I like the example of the tortoise. Like when when the senses are becoming a little bit agitated, the best thing to do is just like withdraw quickly, do something different. So otherwise, it's gonna be bewildered.
It's interesting here because it says keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise. To keep the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the tortoise who keeps the senses within. You know the story of Haridas Thakur, how I don't know who it was, but someone sent a prostitute to try and tempt him because they wanted to do an Epstein number on him, blackmail him. And so she came there. And he said, I have taken a vow to finish chanting 300,000 names, so we definitely can get it on, but I just got to finish my chanting first. And so he was sitting down in front of Tulsi Devi in his like Bhajan Kutir or whatever, in his little hut or his cave or whatever, and he chanted. Yeah, it's all good. He chanted and chanted and chanted, and then by the time he finished, it was like so late and they're so tired, they go to bed. He's like, okay, we'll have to do it tomorrow. Get up in the morning and he's like, well, I got to chant my 300,000 names today. So he's chanting and he's like, well, she's like, oh, I might as well chant as well since I'm here. So she starts chanting as well. And then it just goes on like this for days, and he just basically has no time. And so in the end, she became a devotee. Yeah. And so it's the positive engagement which displaces the negative engagement, not simply like the negative engagement, like the empty space, Yeah, like you when we clear the land and all the grass and everything, and then we've got to plant something, because if we don't, the weeds will come in. So if we keep it all fully planted with companion plants and everything, and they, we'll keep the weeds out. Yeah. Okay, back to the verse.
Contemporary application.
That was it. Let's keep chanting.
Okay.
Haridas Thakur, positive engagement, and the and also my my bodybuilding competition with my contemporary. Yadā saṁharate cāyaṁ kūrmo ṅgānīva sarvaśaḥ indriya-arthebhyaস tasya prajñā pratiṣṭhitā.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge.
Tortoise.
Tortuga.
Param vijayate Sri Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Krishna. Thanks for tuning in. Haribol.
Haribol.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.